Welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. For this episode, we are reviewing Silo Episode 3, now out on Apple TV+. Make sure to check out our episodes 1 to 2 reviews if you haven't already. So in this episode called Machines, we see Juliette, and she is in the position for sheriff. So Akram, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, really cool. I mean, we all knew that Rebecca Ferguson was going to be the lead. At first I thought it was Holston. It's Rebecca Ferguson. She's wonderful. A lot has happened in this episode, especially towards the later ends. There's a lot of tension, and I think that her boyfriend's death really hangs over her head, and so it seems like she's really traumatized by that and water. I find that to be really symbolic too. It's like to overcome or to get freedom, you have to overcome your fears in a way. So it's like a huge obstacle. So it's really cool. And we also see more of the mayor, this relationship and this trek that they want. Because remember, the silo is huge. So it's so weird that they have to walk so far just to get where they need to go.
I get tired watching this up. I still think they need elevators or some shit.
Yeah, they have this futuristic
long walk.
place.
They went from literally the top to like the underground shit. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
but I love the world design for this series. I think it's so authentic and it just feels so lived in, and just seeing the mechanical level was so cool, and like the process of like keep maintaining this whole silo I thought was cool with the generator. So Juliette has to kind of fix this generator before she can pursue this position as sheriff, and it's a scary thing for her. We see like she's she's still at a loss, like with George, as you said. She's drinking heavily, and she feels like she's the only one that can really maintain this generator. Like I feel like she thinks like nobody else can do this job but her. But I think she also has a respect for Holston, and she also still is kind of looking for the truth as well. As we see on the back of the badge, Holston carved truth onto it. And I think for her, that's what made her want to pursue the position of sheriff.
Well, what's interesting about her is that she's really dedicated for this generator position, and I feel like maybe she has trust issues because she doesn't trust anyone else to work on it. And we figured out she actually comes from the upper levels. Her father, finally, we get to see Iain Glen in this as a doctor, and they separated for some reason. And he seems a little fishy too. His story is like, "Oh, I'm too tired." Basically, that's why I don't visit her. But she wants to make a life for herself, and she wants to work hard, and I guess she needs to be occupied. So I think she's a good match to be a detective, because once she's dedicated to something, she won't let go. And that's the same thing with her boyfriend's passing. She just doesn't let that go. And again, she has trust issues, so that's why she's like, no, this guy didn't commit suicide. I have to find answers right now. And that's why the badge represented something so important to her, because it said truth, and now she's going to seek it. And so it's really interesting, that little deal that they had with the mayor was like, I'll be sheriff if you let me fix this generator. So this is like one last hurrah to actually fix it. And that whole scene was wonderful, just seeing the inner workings of the generator. And it was like they're pressed for time. The whole town shut down, so they really had to get going. And I hope that she overcame her fear of water, because she did drown later on, because she was using the hose to turn down the temperature a little bit. But,
well, I love that little detail, because it's like nobody really knows like what a pond or like a ocean is.
True,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like nobody really learned how to swim in this world. So I love that little minute detail. It just kind of adds to this world building. Yeah, and it was cool like seeing like how they kind of like have to stop everything, right? But at the same, I was kind of mad. So I was like, 8 hours. You guys couldn't go 8 hours in the fucking dark when you have like a backup generator. Like it seems like they're kind of spoiled in a way.
True. That is true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The old guy. Oh, I can't see. It was so funny.
I was laughing. I was like, you can clearly see like where you're going. like what?
Like damn.
But it was cool. Yeah. I love that whole like press for time thing. I was actually like really nervous watching this episode, because I felt like I was part of like the engineering crew trying to fix the generator, and it was so like authentic. Like they had to stop like the steam thing before it started redlining. And Juliette, she even like has to cool down the steam chamber with a hose too. I thought that was so cool. Like she's a risk taker, and I think that's an admiral trait. That's probably why the mayor wants her so much to be the sheriff, right?
Yeah, exactly. I also want to get your thoughts on just first of all, we see more of Common. I like how he's playing his role here. It's very, it's very funny how he's like this badass, but he's very, I'd say, cunning in a sense, just with how he presents it like this pie. And apparently there is a different hierarchy. I thought it was the mayor above everyone else. Last episode we were saying maybe there's this secret organization, but no, there's like this judge, and so that's who Common's character Sims works for, is this judge. Let me get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think his name was Judge Meadows or something. So
Yeah.
Common plays Sims, who's kind of like enforcer for the judicial system. And yeah, apparently he has I think a child as well. So it's cool that we got to see like different sides of him. So he's still cold, but at the same time he's also kind of like warm and loving too. So maybe he's in this, for his daughter, right, to protect her. But yeah, he can be like very like ruthless and cold. And I'm wondering too, like we'll get to the end later, but I'm wondering if he has something to do with the mayor's death. What else? The IT guy as well. I forget that actor's name, but he was
Bernard, Tim Robbins.
Maybe, I think so. The guy that was like against having Juliette.
The old guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Robbins. Yeah, Bernard.
Yeah. I was like, okay, like she's a thief. I get it, but like I'm pretty sure everybody in this society is like stolen or some shit, like like to survive. So I'm like, you're really gonna like knock her out just because she's a thief, right? Yeah, they really wanted this guy called Paul Billings to be like the sheriff.
Right.
Maybe it's a power play too. It's kind of like how like politicians like pick judges too, right? To like further their agenda. So maybe they see like her as sheriff could like be like against what they're after, right? Because I feel like this judicial level is like, yeah, like keeping control of like everything that's going on. That's why they don't want people to leave. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of hard to go against that for some people that's there, because they have a job that they can go to. They have food that they know they will get. They have friendship. They're all close together. They have their own entertainment, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, they have all that. So like, I could see why people wouldn't want to get away from that. I mean, because once you're out there, it's so overwhelming. You really have nothing. It's kind of like that. I forgot what the syndrome is called, but it's when a prisoner is released after a long period of time. They really are kind of screwed. I mean, we've seen that in Shawshank Redemption. And again, it's funny that Tim Robbins is here. But so maybe if you think about, maybe it's not so bad because we don't know what happened before. I still am like clinging on to the theory that maybe these people are just special for some reason. Because why them? And yeah, so I mean, take that as you will, but yeah, at least in this episode, we did get a new, I guess, face or name to what's actually going on as the judge. And then from there, we'll see, because maybe he's actually not the judge. I feel like things will, just how the silo is, there's many levels to the leadership of this place. And I think that's really cool, because I think you could do a lot with this new type of sandbox. You could play with that in a way. So that was really cool. Yeah, what else?
Yeah, there's so many levels to the silo too. So we've only seen like a couple, right? So who knows like how like each of the different levels are, right? Maybe there's one just for like the economy or one for education, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, like Snowpiercer, like I said, like each car represents something. Apparently there's guns too. Like I think in the last one we said there weren't any guns, but I think the mayor mentioned they have like a gun locker too.
Yeah, that's
I'm
interesting.
wondering like maybe it's like they hold them just for like emergencies or something.
Probably, yeah. But like, who is in charge of that? That's what worries me. Who's in charge of that? Because that's like a WMD inside that place. So does the judge know someone else that holds that? And also, why does the judge supersede the power of the mayor? Which confuses me, because I thought that the mayor was like, that's it. It's just the mayor. That's everything.
Well, it seems like law is very...
Oh, of course.
Like hierarchical in the system. So mayor maybe is just like a representative of that, but the judge actually like is like kind of like the president in a way.
Right. Well, I also like, again, it kind of reflects on the silo. It's almost like this poetry or the synergies that the silo again has many levels, and then so the society also has many levels as well. So I like how those two live together and they have a marriage with one another. And I think that's really clever how they actually pulled that or played it.
Yeah, and then the deputy and the mayor also kind of like have this relationship, in this episode that we've kind of
Yeah.
explored. Like they have like a thing for like he started like drawing her. I thought that was so cute. Will Patton always plays like characters like that either play a cop or like some dude that like rizzes up like the older chick. like I would imagine like imagine if he still had the Haddonfield tag on his jacket. Like he never left.
Michael Myers came back. Right. That was in a generator.
Right. It's perfect because the generator went out. So.
Yeah, I know. No, that's really funny. I was really shocked to see that the mayor was actually pretty cool. I thought she wasn't cool at first, but she was pretty cool. And she went on this long journey just to see what's going on. She was like a hands-on type of mayor. Or I don't know how she was before because she's old now. So maybe she just randomly had this epiphany like, oh, let me care. I mean, that could also be a character flaw as well. But yeah, so now skipping towards the end, I hope you guys watch this too because this is like mad spoilers. But yeah, she said I thought that was funny too because you could kind of make this like derogatory, put your own words in this, but she said like, why don't you take me to my apartment or something but like get us some like bottles of wine or whatever. And he was like looking at all these bottles and she went to the bathroom. It was like, yeah, I don't know where to choose. You want two? And then you hear like this ruckus going on in the other room. And then I thought she hung herself. I'm not going to lie. I thought she was so for some reason. Yeah, I thought she was guilty. I was like, I knew something was off. But yeah, she was poisoned. That was really strange. Let me get your thoughts. Is Spider-Man in this? Did he kill her? Because if I was the sheriff, I would have like so looked up to see if there's a vent there. Like, how the hell did she die? Yeah, let me get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that was strange. Well, obviously she was poisoned somehow.
Yeah.
I'm wondering who did it. It was either Common or the IT guy.
Common the actor, not Sims.
Yeah, Common the actor. I don't know. It's well, I think clearly Judicial has a hand in this because they want to retaliate because she picked Juliette as the sheriff and it was going against their wishes, so maybe this was kind of like their way of saying like we're in control, not you. What are your thoughts on it?
I think so each level I think has a person that is a part of this group that doesn't tell anybody else that they're a part of it, and I think Bernard is a part of this group, and I think Sims, again, he's just like the handy guy or the guy that gets stuff done. He doesn't really have like a power at all. He's just like a bodyguard basically. So I really think that it was Bernard after the discussion they had, and he was like, oh no, she needs to go. And so that's what happened. I think he sent someone, probably not Sims, but probably someone else. But again, what confuses me is I wish that he looked up because I really wanted to know, was there a vent? Did she drink something earlier? You know what it was? I think I just realized. I think it was the water she drank, and that was like she drank that water, put it back. Then who came out? Bernard, and then they spoke. So it was kind of like a foreshadowing, and then later on the poison kicked in, and I think that's how she went away.
That's a good theory, actually. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Yeah. It's sad because like I started liking her.
Me too.
By the end of this episode, and then I guess they killed her off.
Yeah.
Now I'm waiting for the deputy because I'm like, okay, well, he was kind of in on this too, and I wonder if they know like he had like a short-term relationship with her, so maybe he's next. I don't know. He wanted to retire. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like next episode Juliette will be in the run-in for sheriff. Do you think she's gonna make a lot of enemies?
Oh hell yeah, she already has some. I think for sure. I think she's gonna be too focused on uncovering the truth, and people don't like that because they're like, why are you paying attention to this? Why are you doing this? Like, you need to be doing something else. And Holston was a great sheriff. He was like a people's guy, and then all of a sudden when that happened to his wife, he really wanted to get into the truth, and I think that's when he, I think maybe people were a little dissuaded with his skills a little later on.
Right.
So yeah, I think the same thing. She'll go down the same path as Holston did, but she has to be careful. The good thing is she knows about engineering, so I'm sure she's really handy and she could maneuver her way out of certain situations. So yeah, I worry actually for Martha because that was a nice conversation they both had, and it was really revealing that Martha in a way is kind of like Juliette's mother. So I worry that someone's going to take her out or hold her hostage to make Juliette stop digging, but we'll see.
Because she gave her the tape recorder too.
Yeah.
So maybe she uncovers something that has to do with like before the war or something.
Yeah.
and maybe they find out like this whole society is like fucked up. Well, it already is
Yeah.
fucked up, but like maybe they maybe they started this whole silo program, right? Who knows?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, overall great episode. How would you rate it?
I think I would rate this episode 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed the tension. That was so cool. I love seeing a lot of practical things that had occurred here. Kind of remind me of Andor, that episode where they actually were building things. I really enjoyed that. I always love when they do that. And the CGI I think was great. And the way how they built up the tension, and you felt like you were, like you said, you felt like you were part of the ensemble fixing this machine. It was great. I really enjoyed this episode. So what would you rate it?
Yeah, I probably agree with you. I probably give it a 10 out of 2. It was just amazing, like seeing the whole world building aspect, seeing how like this generator is so like their source of life and how important it is, and seeing how involved Juliette is, and seeing her character struggle through, you know, all these losses of George and now Holston, and how she's kind of like fighting her way through that in this episode and changing as a person. I thought that was so cool. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Overall great episode.
Yeah, cool. Why don't you take us away?
Well, thank you guys for tuning in for this review of episode 3 of Silo. Like I said, be sure to check out our episodes 1 and 2 reviews if you haven't already. Yeah, we're so busy this month. This Sunday we have, of course, Succession and Barry coming up. Check us out whatever platform you're listening to. But guys, thank you so much, and until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.